Um, Hi, Joe and Melissa from Kimmy. Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Supportive, always supportive. And you can see nipples just there.
Oh,
I didn't put him there. Yeah, she's just there, just having a rest. Yeah,
well,
supporting.
Pickles might come up too, and if Pickles comes up, I'll try
Yes.
to like get her to look into the camera too.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. She's kind of like I don't, just so you know, I don't position her there. She decides.
Dramatic.
She wanted to be on camera today. Yeah. Um
That's so cute.
yeah. But yeah, I was thinking we'd talk about the congressional um yes, elections in New York. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi Donna, thanks for yeah, yeah. Yeah, so what do you think like about it? Like obviously a lot of the Mandami won that support.
Oh,
I'm noticing a lot of people freaking out, saying that the Democratic Party is about to turn into the hi Donna, hi Margie, thanks for joining. That they're Hi Lisa, they're about to join. They're about to become
yeah.
the Socialist Party, Democratic
Right.
Socialist. Yeah,
Democratic
yeah,
Socialists America will basically
yes,
take over the Democratic Party. That's what they're saying. Kind of
yes,
like MAGA took over the Republican Party, which
yeah,
happened.
Like the Tea Party became
Yeah,
MAGA.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like you do have sort of but
mm,
I think a friend of mine today reminded me of this because I'm
mm,
just watching it all sort of
yes,
neutrally and with vast interest.
mm,
Friend of mine said, I just think it's such an unfair comparison to say
yes,
that people who want affordability and healthcare and all of these things are being
mm,
compared to a group who's trying to take rights away. He said that this is
yes,
fundamentally unfair to make
yeah,
that
yeah,
comparison, even if you disagree with socialism or democratic socialism in this case. And I
yeah,
have to agree with him. Like look, I think it's interesting for the Democrats that they have this insurgent, you know, uh, further left, which really
yeah,
is far left. If you look
no,
globally, it's really more center left.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bigger politics around the country, or excuse me, around the world.
yeah,
So I find it interesting. I mean,
yeah.
Johnny's
I do too, and I think it's like a hyperventilating. People are hyperventilating because we're talking about. I think we're talking about four people
yes,
in in the Senate, like out of like what hundreds, who consider themselves like democratic socialists. Like it's a tiny proportion, and also they if you look at all the places where they did well, it was in places that Mandami himself did very well, right? So
yes.
so yeah, so there's a overlap between Mandami and the people who did well. But the idea that somehow this is going to become the Democratic Party, I don't think, because I think with the Tea Party was very much a Republican thing, which was the debt. You know what I mean? Let's keep the debt down, all that sort of stuff, right? It
Yeah.
was very much like, let's go back to what the Republican Party used to be. And they were complaining, I think from memory, that the Republican Party had become like a big spending party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, they were
and
just as upset with George W. Bush as they were with
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they said it was big. So they just want to go back to a time when Republicans, instead of people going, we need to be, and then they would go on and spend money. I think this is very different because the Democratic Party was never really a socialist party. I don't think in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
no,
Maybe FDR or something like
that's
that.
what I was just gonna say, that's probably the closest the New Deal was.
But I think that was also during like a very like the depression, like it was during like there was
Right,
reasons
right.
for that,
Huge
Uh
economic suffering, yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah, there was I don't think we're at that stage at the moment. But if you look around the country, it's still more center left in the Democratic Party. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I I I think it is, and I think but I think the momentum and the enthusiasm is coming from that small group of people who are small group of people who are more socialist type. Yeah, I think that's where the youthful enthusiasm is coming from. Yeah.
It
So
is,
even
it
though
is.
even though I think the other group is bigger, I think the other group is older, and I think the other group is more establishment, and I think they don't have the same momentum. Because if you're like Chuck Schumer
Well,
supporter, yeah, if you're a Chuck Schumer supporter, that's not Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries. They're not the kind of people who are going to inspire young people. you know, you know, to
right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
like, no, I 100% agree with you, and I think, we also have to consider this is New York City.
yes,
And
exactly. It's
now
yeah.
if
This
this
is in Texas. Yes,
exactly, if this
yeah,
happened in Texas or,
mm,
in Wyoming, it would be
yes,
shocking, right? It would be an absolute earthquake. But it's New York City, so, like, let's
yeah, yeah,
temper our expectations here. That being said,
mm,
they did, put some incumbents out of office, which is will be out of office coming soon, which is very
yeah,
interesting. And I also
yes.
thought it was interesting that Jack Schlossberg did not do better. I expected him to do better.
Really? Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
just 'cause he's a kid.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, Bob Lander, did quite well. And
Yeah,
like a lot of the people would say, like, I mean, he's Jewish and he did very well. But he's also very critical of Israel. I think that's a plus for Democrats who criticize Israel because you now have an example of someone who's Jewish,
himself Jewish. Mhm.
Jewish, and is critical of Israel, but I did notice that during his concession speech, he also did sort of acknowledge that anti-Semitism is on the rise. So I think he hit that balance. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And he's right,
Mm.
because both of those things are true.
Yeah, they are. They're both right. Yeah.
They're
I,
both
I actually think
true.
I actually think Bob Lander, his views are probably more mainstream than probably Mandami's views are. Do you know what I mean? In that sense that, and yeah, so I do think it was a positive for the Democratic Party because it's going to create this enthusiasm. I don't think it's a Tea Party situation. I actually don't, because if you look around America, there's not enough New York places to make it a massive movement. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right. It's certainly not overnight, especially, I mean, this
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
you know, uh, will that segment of the Democratic Party grow? Probably.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
It probably will, but is it gonna
yes,
suddenly take over the entire Democratic Party?
yeah,
No, I think people are just panicking. I mean, look,
yeah,
one could say that they never thought that the Tea Party would take over the Republican Party either. I mean, I'm
yeah,
one of them. I was a moderate, and I never would have thought
yeah,
that, and it happened. But again, I hate to compare those 2.
yeah.
Um,
What would you say is like the Tea Party? What was their extreme? Did they have extreme views? What were their
Not to start out, no. In fact,
mm,
my husband and I years ago went to
mm,
a Tea Party rally, right? There was one
yes,
held near us, and we were like, "Let's just go. Let's see what's going on over there."
yeah, yeah,
And some of the speakers there were Republican speakers, there were independent
mm.
speakers, there were populist Democrat speakers.
Really?
Yes,
Okay,
there
yeah,
were.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because that was the thing, it was an anti-establishment movement. Now, it
yes,
ultimately sort of morphed into this anti-Obama with
yeah,
real racist overtones. It did, if you
yeah, yeah,
ever went back to one of those rallies because we were
yeah,
like, "This isn't what we thought." We thought it really was about
yeah,
the TARP. The TARP
yeah,
was the stimulus that was
yes,
passed in, 2008,
yeah,
2009.
yeah,
And it bailed out the banks and it bailed out,
yeah,
different companies that had gone under during the economic, downturn. And,
yeah,
you know, we were like, "Well, what about all of us?" Like, what
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and so I think that there were people that were very upset about that.
mm,
Even to that one we went to very early on, which was like in
yeah,
2009.
yeah,
Um, and then the vendors that were there were selling
yes,
stuff that was anti-LGBTQ,
yeah,
racist, it was,
yeah,
anti-Muslim, and so we never went back to one of those.
yeah,
But one
right, yeah,
that it was a very populist rather than right-wing movement at that time, and
yeah,
then it sort of morphed into MAGA, which became very different. It
very
had nothing
different.
to do with immigration. We didn't there was nobody was talking about immigrants or
Yes,
anything at that event. It
yeah,
was strictly about reining in spending in Washington.
In Washington, yeah. So basically, it started with like just financial, like an economic thing, and then it became more like a cultural thing in the
Yeah,
end. Yeah,
exactly,
which is
exactly.
kind of like what MAGA is, isn't it? A lot of it is culture based.
Very much
Like
so.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. It's about culture and I think the difference between that and say the democratic socialist movement is I think the democratic socialist movement is a lot about economics,
Absolutely.
um, but some of it is about Israel. There's no doubt about that, especially amongst young
About it.
people.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Americans in general are
Mm.
becoming less supportive of Israel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, that's not just on the
Yeah.
left, it's on the right as
Yes.
well
Yes.
because of disapproval with Bibi Netanyahu, what's been
Yeah.
happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Americans see an overreaction. Now,
Yes.
I'm just saying what I'm observing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the most centrist talking point on Israel Gaza today is Israel had the right to defend themselves on after October 7th because what happened.
And that
But
was
then, but
horrendous.
after, Joe, what does your hat on the table behind you? What does your hat on the table behind you? I don't know. Is there a hat? Oh,
There's
what does it
black
say?
hat, it looks
I
like.
don't know. It's like I think it's a coffee shop hat. I think it's got like a picture of a coffee shop. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a
Um,
baseball cap type.
baseball cap. Yeah, yeah. You should be looking at nibbles, not my hat. She's not gonna like that. What does it say? I don't know. Actually, I think it just says something like Banter Coffee Shop, which is like the coffee shop near where I live. I think they gave it to me for free because I buy coffee from there a lot. Um, but yeah, but keep an eye on nibbles. Like she's not
Right.
she's not gonna like that. Yeah. Um,
I'm
but
just saying
yeah,
back to Donna, I think that she's right. People's eyes
yeah,
have been opened a lot on the Middle East, and I think a lot of people realize
yes,
things aren't so black and white, like as
yes,
a lot of Americans have always assumed for a long time. And again, I'm not look, I am the last person who's gonna stick up for Hamas or Hezbollah or any look, I'm that's not what I'm doing. But I think that under Netanyahu, Israel's really lost a lot of credibility, which is a shame. But
yes.
th I
Yeah, yeah. I look, exactly. Look, I think I think that if I was trying to help Israel get a better like PR team, I
yeah,
would be like the worst thing you can do is just pretend like everything Israel does is great. Do you know what I mean?
yes, yeah.
I just think like the best thing to do is have a more nuanced view. Do you know what I mean? Like why is it like, it's this like, always it's so annoying how they go, no other country does more to try to stop innocent people from dying, right? Um, the best thing Trump ever said, and Trump didn't say it because he cares, but Trump's very good at picking up what what the base is saying or what they're thinking. And
Mhm.
remember, he said, well, the problem with Israel, he was talking about Lebanon, is that when they bomb a place, is they will see one Hezbollah person inside that building, and they know there's 10 civilians in there, and they go, well, it's worth it to get that one
It's
person.
one right.
And that's not him. Like he didn't start that. That's being talked about all the time. And now it's not that Israel is going. This is the part I don't believe with some of the more ultra anti-Israel is I don't think Israel is going. There's a building there and there's 10 babies, therefore I'm going to blow it. I don't. They're not doing that, but they're making the calculation that if there's one Hezbollah or one Hamas or one this, that collateral damage is okay. Do
It's
you know what I mean?
acceptable.
Is
Exactly.
acceptable. But the
Yeah.
problem is, if you do that once, okay, it's still not good. But they just keep repeating, and that collateral damage becomes massive. You know what I mean? And the other thing is I'm thinking about this from an Israel point of view, is that every time you kill an innocent civilian, you are probably radicalizing their family of the person who died in that building, the innocent person who died in that building, like their children, their cousins. That probably goes into the media. They just killed a bunch of innocent people, and that radicalizes the community more. So killing one Hamas person or killing one Hezbollah person, how many more radical people are you creating? So I think there's just like even tactical from their point of view, it doesn't even make sense to me. And you create all this, hatred. And again, like people like Ben Shapiro and other people like that, I feel like there's no red line. Like if you said to them, what does Israel have to do for you to criticize them? And they would probably say, like, let's just say if I said to Ben Shapiro, what if the innocent people were double? I think he'd still say it was worth it. What about triple? I don't think there's a red line. That's the problem. I don't like if you asked them, they would go, well, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
no,
think,
I agree with you. It does seem that
yeah.
and I think what happens is we've always said that about the Islamists, that they have
Mhm.
no but
Exactly. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
but it does appear that it goes both ways, that it's the
Yes.
same, and that's why you have so many, Jewish Americans even who are criticizing
Yes.
Israel, and they're saying, "Wait, I don't wanna be I don't wanna be connected with this," like, I
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I don't blame them. It's kinda like how I feel about probably a lot of us in here feel about
Yeah.
Trump. I don't
Yes. Exactly.
wanna be connected with that, and that's how they
Yes.
feel about Netanyahu and the way he's carried out this war. So, no, I agree, and I thought it was interesting too
Yeah.
that Vance,
Yes.
Jake Vance
Mm.
was essentially pulling the line with, Israel now, like, almost like what
Yes.
he was doing to Ukraine last year, like, "We're your only ally now," almost like that
Yeah.
famous line
Yes.
he said to Zelensky, like, "We're holding all the cards," or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. It was the same
and
sort of thing. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that same kind of warning that
Yeah.
he was giving to Israel, and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
that now if he's losing the right to that
Yes.
extreme, he's the
Yeah.
place."
I know. And I always find it interesting because I feel like both Marco Rubio and JD Vance are like Trump's children. And like one, obviously JD Vance is less interventionist and Marco Rubio is more. And
Right.
so whoever he puts in front of the camera is what Trump is going with. So when it was Venezuela, he would put Marco Rubio and JD Vance would disappear
Mhm.
because obviously I don't think JD Vance was agreeing with it. And then when it came to Iran, it was Marco Rubio initially. And then when he changed his mind, Marco Rubio like literally
In the
disappeared
back
for like, yeah.
disappeared.
And then suddenly JD Vance goes to the front. So whoever he puts in front is
Where's
where
he
Trump's where his head is. Um, and I think you can see Marco Rubio in the back getting fuming when he's talking when Trump is criticizing Israel.
always looks miserable, Marco
He
Rubio.
always looks miserable.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, and it's I think it just I feel like Mark Levine, all these people like they're like there's this also like hilarious thing going on where Mark Levine really criticized, really loves Donald Trump, and everything he does. But then when he said that stuff about Iran, like the complimentary stuff about Iran,
Yeah,
and he criticized Israel,
yeah.
he did the usual thing, which is what they all do, is he's getting bad advice. The people around him, like the people around him, not him. It's he like
Always the people around him.
around him. Yeah. Are they saying? Are the people who love Trump? Are they saying that Trump can't think for himself? Because on the one hand, they make him out to be this really powerful person, and on
Mhm.
the other hand, he's easily manipulated. So you can't be both. You know what I mean? So
Right. So pick
yeah,
a side, which is it? You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. Like Trump will stand up for himself. Like they also had the opposite argument, which was a lot of people said, which I think is true, that um, Bibi Netanyahu tried to get Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden, and
Yeah,
and also Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton said this when she was with
going
Obama.
Iran.
They tried to get them to bomb Iran, and both the Obama administration and the Joe Biden said, no, we're not going to do that. And Trump said yes. And people like Mark Levine and Ben Shapiro, they said, well, basically, they took that information and said, well, Trump is the only one who had the guts. Trump was the only one who
Right.
was strong enough to do it. And then as soon as Trump criticizes Israel, it's like, well, no, that's the people around him. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't, yeah.
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 100%, I agree.
Yeah.
And they do that with so many things too.
Yes. Yeah.
Where they just magically take the blame off this powerful guy who he alone could
Yes.
solve it, but somehow when
Yes.
there are these major decisions being made,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's not his fault. Well,
Yeah.
which is it then? He's either in
Yes.
charge or he's not. If somebody had said that about Biden, they would have said, "Oh, well, then who's really running the show there? Who's really in
Yes.
charge?"
Who's in charge? Yeah. Yeah.
Right, because the whole time, or especially the last 2 years of the Biden administration, that was
Yes.
what you would hear was that,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're having, someone else is running the show there." It's the auto
Yeah.
presidency.
Exactly. Like Donna just said, he's manipulated. Look what happened.
Yeah.
Look what happened in Italy. That's right. Like that whole
We were just
that
talking
whole
about that show. Exactly.
yeah, that whole Italy thing
Malone
with I think it's Georgina Meloni,
Maloney,
uh,
yep.
Meloni and Giorgio. I think it's Giorgio. It's Giorgio Meloni. I can't remember. Giorgio. Yeah, Giorgio. You got to say it with an
Yeah.
Italian accent. You got to say it with an Italian accent though.
Like,
Yeah, Giorgio Meloni. But yeah, is that okay to say? I don't know. We could be actually that could be good. We
I
get
wonder if she's
cancelled.
related to Stabler from SVU.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, could be. But she's but yeah, she like I love the fact that she called him out for that
Yeah.
lie. And look, if he's willing to lie about something so silly like that she begged him for a photo, then he's just going to lie about everything. He will lie about he just lies. It is amazing. Like you
Who's
would
on
feel
fire. That's right. He does, Donna. He does hate women. Absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's why he always goes after the women in the press. That's why
yeah,
he goes harder after women that are in Congress. Yes.
yes,
Anyway, so
yeah. That's right. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Did you see that? There's a new book coming out called Regime Change, and it's by an Australian, actually, an Australian. There's a guy called John. Do you know Jonathan Swan? He works for Axios.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's an Australian who lives in America now. He's a journalist,
Right.
and
Married to another
he
journalist, I think.
yeah, he's quite well known. He interviewed Trump during COVID. I don't know if you remember. Trump pulled out this graph in front of him and said, "We're the best for deaths." But it was actually the wrong graph. And Jonathan Swan grabs the graph and he goes, "No, you're reading it wrong. It means
Yes.
you've got the
Oh my
highest death
god,
rate."
I forgot about
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, that was Jonathan Swan. He works for Axios now in America. So him and his colleague, I can't remember.
Yes.
They just finished writing a book called Regime Change. It's about Trump, and they were on The View. They were on a couple of different shows promoting the book, and one of the stories they told
Good read.
was how they were interviewing Trump for the book, and Trump said, "Oh, he told his secretary or someone to go show a print off showing that Trump was more powerful than Mao, than Hitler, and and all those people like Stalin." And he was really proud of it. He was really proud that this graph showed that he was more powerful.
These people. Yeah, yeah. And then he's
Yeah. Yeah, he was happy about it. Like, he was happy about it. And we worked out later that the actual graph and the story came from, a caddy, like, just a caddy. Like, he wasn't a historian, he was actually a golf caddy.
oh,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Who does, like who writes on the side, like, just has his
oh
own
my
little side.
god.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Wow.
that was his source. But the fact that he thought that was a good thing,
Right.
is quite
Right.
telling. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyone who thinks that way is scary.
yeah. It's all about yeah,
The free world, essentially.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I hope my only problem with the Democrats at the next election is sometimes I hear Hakeem Jeffries or someone like that, and they will say, "Well, Donald Trump isn't being strong enough with Iran. He's folding to them." And I'm worried that some Democrats might try to pivot to the right of Trump in terms of Iran. Do you know what I mean? By saying he's too weak, right? Because then that will open up someone like JD Vance to be to the left of a Democrat. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
JD Vance could say, "Yeah, well, we wanna come up with an agreement. We don't want war." And then if you have a Democrat running and they're saying, "Well, he caved to the Iran, he caved to this and caved to that," then it might seem like the Democrat is more um, hawkish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the more war hungry one, and that
Yeah,
no, and also I think it also puts the Democrats in a
yeah,
precarious place
mm,
regarding Israel support too,
exactly. Yeah,
because they're essentially co-opting that
yes.
position,
Yeah,
right?
well, JD Vance probably does believe
Fancy,
that's yeah,
fancy. Yes.
yeah, and and I don't think Trump's going to run at the next election. So I think it'll either be Vance or even if it was Tucker. Like Tucker Carlson's interesting because this week he said he's leaving the Republican Party. Like he's no longer supporting it. Which to me it got a lot of news, but to me it wasn't like a big deal because he's already been criticised in the Republican Party.
Right.
But interestingly enough, he's been saying nice things about JD Vance. So so even if Tucker Carlson doesn't run, there's a good chance he might support JD Vance. And then
And
and yeah,
no, finish. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and then I could see a situation where if a Democrat becomes the opposition, whoever wins, and they're like a more centrist, and they have more old school views about Israel and Iran and things like that. I think you could see a position where JD Vance, with Tucker Carlson as his support, could pivot to the left of a Democrat, and then the Democrats go back to being um, establishment, and then
Right.
JD Vance is the anti-establishment. Yeah, yeah,
That's the concern I have about
yeah.
the Democrats is
Mm.
I don't want them to just we can't continue to just be the reflexively whatever the opposite of
Yes,
what Trump's doing. You
I
know,
agree. Yeah, yeah.
and I'm not saying that every Democrat is like that,
No,
but
no, no.
there are enough that it's a problem, and
Yes.
especially going forward as because what you're saying, and this I fundamentally agree on. We need to
Yeah.
start shifting away from Trump and be facing what's happening now.
100%. 100%. Yeah, yeah.
Um, because that's the bigger threat right now.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Trump is
Mm.
a clear and present danger, but people act like
Yeah.
he's the only danger. He's not.
No, no, no,
And
no.
so, we need to really start thinking about once we get through these midterms,
Yes.
we really need to start thinking about 2028 and stop just being we're the opposite of whatever Trump is, and that's that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And June, July said whoever is anti-establishment will win, include exactly. And look, with the help of like if JD Vance ran and with the help of Tucker Carlson, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, all the old, Thomas Massey, he could create an anti-establishment party. But that would only work if a Democrat was more hawkish. Do you know what I mean? Is that your dog? Is that your
Yeah,
doggy?
pickles just came up.
Oh,
Yeah,
pickles.
so
There's the
come
yeah,
here, come here, come up here.
yeah,
Come out. No,
yeah.
she's not jumping up. Normally,
There's
she
not
would
something else. Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Anyway, I can't
No.
get her to come up. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh,
no, I totally agree with you, and I think that the
yeah,
biggest
yeah,
concern that Democrats should have right
yeah,
now is that they're gonna get played just the way you described, and especially
yes,
Vance.
yeah.
Vance could pull that off, I
He could
fear.
pull that off. There's people in the media, like a lot of people were supporting JD Vance. So I think a lot of people in the online world who were anti-establishment, anti-interventionist, they voted for Trump because he got JD Vance, who
Yeah,
is JD Vance is basically the internet. He represents the internet, the online world. Do you know what I mean? Um,
interesting, yeah.
yeah,
No,
he
that's
he
right.
he 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 represents a lot of chronically online people on Twitter. He represents Twitter.
Yeah,
JD Vance is the perfect example of Twitter. And, and so, and in fact, in the book Regime Change, JD Vance keeps getting in trouble for being on the internet too much, right? And Trump makes fun of him for always tweeting, like, even though he tweets all the time, you know what I mean? But yeah, but I think he was making fun of him because he was always, JD Vance is very Twitter, and so I think that's who he represents, and I think that's why a lot of the base were disappointed in him. Hi, Sandra. Good to see you, Sandra. That's Sandra. She's got a new picture today, by the way.
Hi,
Every
Sandra.
every time she's like mysterious. She's very mysterious, Sandra. Hi,
Yeah,
Sandra.
looks
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I think that's interesting. Yeah, that he represents that side of it. But I can certainly see him, and I can certainly see him pivoting to the left of some Democrats.
So could I. That's what I
Uh,
mean. He's
yeah, yeah,
going if Democrats aren't careful, that I could see
yeah,
that happening.
yeah. I can say, yeah, yeah,
Because that's how I feel like everything I've
yeah.
and I mean, I'm sure that lots of people have seen this. Like,
Mm,
you can almost see these things happening in real time. Like,
yes,
oh my God, this is where this is going. And like,
yes,
there it does. And that's where it goes. And it just really concerns
yeah,
me. And I see some people in the chat saying, well, nobody really likes Vance. I don't
yeah,
disagree. But
yeah.
there was also a time when everybody thought that, like, Trump had no chance, that Trump
Yeah,
wanted
that's right. Yeah,
century.
you should. I don't think, and also we're talking 2 years away. It's a long time.
It is.
People can reinvent themselves. You know what I mean? Um, and also, if you imagine, so a lot of people know JD Vance as Trump's vice president, but he could reinvent himself during the primaries as more like a Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene. He could become himself. I think he's probably I think he's smart enough to see that Kamala Harris, when she during the primaries, when she took over, that when she was asked what would you do differently to Joe Biden, that was a big mistake when she said nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Didn't change
yeah.
anything.
I
Exactly.
think I think JD Vance is gonna once
Differentiate himself from Trump in the
yeah
ways he needs to.
he's not going to he's not going to throw Trump under the bus because he needs his supporters, but I think he will code it in a way that his supporters know that he would do things differently. Yeah, yeah,
And I
uh,
think that, in the United
yeah,
States, you have people that
yeah,
will
mm,
never vote for a Democrat. Now, just like you have there's people that will
yes,
never vote for a Republican too.
yeah,
But people I know who are Republican, the
yeah,
idea of voting for a Democrat, like, it's like they would never,
never
ever.
do it. Yes,
And so whoever that Republican candidate is, they're voting for.
yes,
They don't
yeah,
care.
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's where I think with Vance, I I don't count him out. This guy has
yeah. I don't count him out because
himself.
he's actually quite smart.
He's
Now
very
he
smart, and he's reinvented himself
yeah,
numerous times
numerous
throughout
times.
his
Yeah, yeah.
kind of new thing. So
And
I
I
don't
was
don't count him out. Mm-mm.
do you know when he surprised me? When he debated Tim Walz, and he actually beat Tim Walz, and he actually was quite surprisingly calm,
Yes.
and and
Polite.
at the end of it, Tim Walz was like, "Oh, thank." Like Tim Walz said, Tim Walz actually said it. He said, "Look, I was not expecting that JD Vance to come out," and
No.
he sounded reasonable. He sounded like he knew what he was. Now I don't believe any of this, but I'm just saying like
No,
what he
I
came
know
across.
exactly what you're saying.
Yes, yeah, and I
I
think that's the JD Vance you got to say. Um, it's also important that in his book, this is really important, I think, he apologized in his book. And when he's that, because JD Vance just wrote a book and you saw him going on The View, right? And you saw him going on all these left wing shows, not left wing shows, but like that. So recently he wrote a book and he started going on CNN, MSNBC, The View, and all that. And
Mhm.
even The View said afterwards, he was such a nice, funny,
It was
charming
so
guy.
nice.
Yeah. And so
And,
we,
what's her name? Joy yeah,
Joy.
said, like, "Oh, I kinda like you. You're nice," or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So
What
so
makes
I
it
think I
dangerous?
don't I think the left shouldn't fall for this, because we don't like him. Because at the end of the day, Democrats don't decide who becomes president, independents do. And independents can ease. Yeah. So if someone like Joy is complimenting him, oh, look, I can see your doggy in the background. I can see your little doggy in the background there. It's cute. On the other side. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, Pickles, come here.
Pickles. Oh, Pickles, there it is. Oh my God, it's so cute. So cute. Hello, Pickles. Lots of
She walked up.
lots of hearts. Everyone should
Pickles,
give lots
look.
of hearts. Lots of hearts to Pickles. Yeah, yeah. Let's give some love hearts to Pickles. There you go. Yeah, yeah. She deserves all the hearts in the world. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and the one thing too, I remember
Yeah.
during 2024, I was working for Olivia Troy, and I remember the Vance and Walt's debate, and right afterwards we called each other and we were like, "Oh my God, that's the worst thing that could have ever happened," because he, like you said, he looked reasonable.
He looked reasonable. Yeah.
And everybody online was saying, "Wow, it was so nice to see a nice normal debate. Both guys were decent."
That's right.
That was the scariest part of it, was because he could appear that way.
Yeah, that's right.
He can get the normies.
Yeah, he can get the normies. That's right. And so
Or
so
skeptical of Trump, but
exactly. Yeah. So you might get some of the original policies of Trump, which is anti-establishment, but without the crazy tweets and the crazy, you know what I mean? Without all the because you do hear a lot of Republicans say the one thing they don't like about Trump is all his posts and having arguments with people. So JD Vance writing this book and then going on this tour, he also said in the book, and he said this on The View as well, is he said he regrets saying that he called people crazy cat ladies. Who did he say that to? Crazy cat lady, single crazy cat lady. I can't remember. But yeah, that became like a big thing. And in his book, and when he went on The View, he said he really regrets it, saying that, and he was stupid for saying that. So that to me is that he's now pivoting, right? I think what he's doing is similar to what the Democrats are now doing, which is saying, you know what, if you're going to win elections, you have to go on Fox News. You have to go on. So he's doing the opposite of that. He's thinking, you know what? A lot of the independents have moved away from us because they thought we were too extreme now. What if I now pivot back towards being more normal and I apologize for some of the stupid stuff I said, right? Because when he apologized for that on The View, they loved it. They loved it. And so, and then on top of that, he's selling it in places where people would usually hate him. So it's like the opposite of what Pete Buttigieg does. But Pete Buttigieg does that on the right. He's doing that on the other side. I think it's very smart. I think it's actually very smart. Yeah.
That's one thing I really did agree with in the autopsy, the Democratic Party autopsy that they finally released like a month ago, was that they said, that the Harris campaign kind of stopped her from going into, and they couldn't litigate her whole campaign. Look, she had a very short period of time.
That's right.
I happen to think she was great, but like,
I do too. I loved Kamala. I think she was underrated. I don't think it was actually Kamala. I think it was her advisors.
I agree with you.
They stopped her. They stopped because I think,
and I think that was important. I think
it was incredible. Look, in my opinion, I think they were always going to lose because there was an incumbency thing happening around the world where incumbent governments were getting kicked out because of inflation, and so I think that, but I just think they could have lost by less.
They had enough to battle as it was.
Yes,
but
they had incumbency, post-COVID incumbency going against them. Yeah. Oh, wow. Vice President Vance remarks about childless cat ladies stem from 2020 interview where he argued the Democrat was being run by a bunch of child. Yes, that's right. Miserable. The controversy, this criminal faction and political cycle. Yeah, exactly. That. Thanks for that. I really appreciate June and July. That was really good because I was trying to remember that. I personally think things are going to get so horrendous in the midterms. Anyone tied to this regime will not be president 2021. Yeah. Look, I will say this. I will say one thing. I will say one thing to Sandra is that in 2020, Trump tried to overthrow the government, and in January 6th, and everyone, including JD Vance, was saying that guy, that's the end of Trump. We'll never hear of Trump again. That
Mhm.
Trump, that even Fox News was saying that because of all this sort of stuff. And guess what happened? 4 years later, he was elected. So I think the electorate, because of social media, have a very, very short attention span. And so if JD Vance spends the next 2 years reinventing himself, I think it could happen. I actually do believe it. I'm not saying he's gonna I'm not saying he's gonna win. I'm just saying that don't rule it completely out. Yeah. Don't because don't rule because I can see a world. Yeah, I can see a world where he pivots to the left of a Democrat.
Right, and he's not without losing the right.
Yes, that's right.
I think he can do it because even Trump
Yes.
pivoted to the left from the
Yeah.
establishment right party.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And when I say pivot to the left, yeah, what I mean pivot to the left, maybe that's not a good term. It's more like pivot to the anti-establishment, which is both left and right. Yeah. The anti
But you understand
yeah.
what I mean. Like, in other
Yeah, I
words,
do,
like, he
100%.
took
Yeah.
positions that were not really, um,
Yes.
what what I would consider Republican in
No.
2015.
That's right.
You
Yes.
know?
Yeah, yeah, because
He's
during the
not very
primary
pro free market,
yes.
he was sort of flexible on things with at least in his first term. It's different
Yeah.
in his first term, he was flexible on guns, he was flexible on
Yeah.
abortion
Yeah.
cases. You know, uh, he was not speaking the constitutional conservative party that
No.
predominated for like 15, 20 years.
That's true. And I even remember him standing out, I think it was 2016, him standing out the front of one of his Trump hotels. And he said, Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever toilet, whatever
Yes,
bathroom she was in any of my
right.
hotels. And now you think about what he talks like. He's willing to now. I always find the trans thing and Trump quite like it's he. I actually don't think he cares about trans people one way or the other. I actually think his personal view is I don't really care what toilet they use. I actually believe that because if you look at Trump's history, he didn't care about gay people whether it was good. He was friends with gay people, all this sort. But he will always use it because he thinks his base thinks it's that's what they like. You know what I mean?
That's
Do,
100% it.
do you remember he had that DoorDash woman come to the door?
Yeah,
Remember that?
right.
Yeah,
We
and,
talked
and
about
he
her. Yeah,
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 and he said to her, oh, because she's like a working class older woman, and he goes,
yeah.
oh, so what do you think about trans people playing sport? You must hate that. And then she turns around and she goes, I don't really have an opinion. And
Yeah.
so he was like throwing red meat.
The
So
same, right.
it's
It's
so
such a concern.
patronizing. It's so patronizing that he imagines his base, and it's probably some truth to it, but he thinks he doesn't really think of it himself, but he thinks his base is quite simple minded, that they only care about trans people in sport or whatever. So
Right,
yeah, yeah,
some
yeah,
minuscule policy, right, that affects some
yeah.
tiny
It's
percentage of the population. Yeah,
It
yeah.
it's actually worse because I don't think Trump cares about it. If Trump actually
No, I don't think he
gen
does.
if Trump generally cared about a lot of this stuff, it would be like, okay, but I don't think he does. I just think he thinks, oh, my base is really stupid. My base is really dumb.
This
So
that's
this is the kind of thing they love. We can do whatever we want as long as we talk about trans people in sport.
mhm.
Um, and yeah,
I
so
actually posted a graphic today that was kinda similar to
oh
that.
yeah,
Showing I wish I could say I created it, but I didn't, but it was,
yeah,
the house was on fire and
yeah,
the house was showing affordability and
yeah.
healthcare and education, and it was on fire. And then there was a guy in a MAGA hat and Trump's pointing, "Oh, look, a trans person."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Works.
exactly what it is. That's
Right,
exactly what it is.
right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right.
Exactly. Yeah. Divert attention with trans
Exactly.
people. Yeah,
He
yeah,
uses those sort of hot button cultural issues to
yeah.
get his way.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it works to some degree. I mean, I don't think it works. I think it works more when you're not the incumbent. I don't think it works as much when you are the incumbent because most people are driven by economics. Um, and I think sometimes, like a lot of things that happen in 2024, a lot of people can say, "Oh, it was the cultural thing," but when you look at the polling, it was actually the inflation that was the number one thing. So
Mhm.
I think maybe you can start believing it's the cultural thing because it happened at the same time as the economic thing. And so, had you know, I don't think it's going to work as successfully when you're the incumbent government. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Right, because you can't say, "Oh, these terrible policies," when you're the one who's in charge.
in charge, yeah. And also, like, I think the smart thing that they did was they tied the trans thing to the economy, right? Which is basically, remember that ad that they ran, which was really very popular? The ad actually wasn't saying stuff about trans people just in general. The end of the ad says they only care about they only care about trans
Yeah.
people. They only care about this. We care about you.
We care about
And
you.
then
We
and
care
then
about
it
them, we care about you.
yeah, we care about yeah, yeah. So basically saying that Democrats are so hyper focused on trans people or gay people that they don't care about your economic life, and we don't. We only care about your economic life. So I think it was smart in that way,
Well,
because it's like, oh, they don't care about you economically. They only care about trans people, which was just
it was
such a lie.
when
Yeah,
I saw that commercial, which played in heavy rotation in the Philadelphia area,
yeah, yeah.
I remember talking to my friend who lives in
Mm,
New Mexico, and
mm,
I said to her, and I don't know if she's watching, but hi, Noma, if you are.
yeah,
But anyway, I remember saying to her at the time, like, "Oh my god, this ad is gonna kill it around here,"
yeah, yeah,
because it had Kamala saying essentially that the state would pay for
yeah.
prisoners to get
To have yeah, that's
get
right. Yeah,
gender affirming surgery. So, I was like, "Oh, man, this is just bad."
yeah,
And yeah, and it was an extremely effective ad, unfortunately,
yeah, yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think it was.
that
Yeah.
interview was focused on under completely different circumstances.
Yes.
She was in California at the time. She was not, working in the
Yeah.
she wasn't in the federal government at the time, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, exactly right. Look, I agree. And
Nice, thank you, Kimmy.
oh, Kimmy, that's really nice of you. Yeah, she's really just looking at nibbles the whole time. We know that. Um, why don't we have such a spot on messaging? Yeah, I actually think one of the worst things about that ad was that Democrats ignored it. They pretended like that ad didn't exist, and I think by ignoring the ad, they actually gave it more power.
I
Um, I think they could have easily run an ad saying, um, the Republican Party just spent $120 million on an ad. What we're going to do is you could have flipped it on them, because the reality was that it was Republicans who were obsessed with it. And I would have done an ad showing how much they're spending on that ad, which shows, and it was actually their number one ad in terms of spending. And you could have had a graph showing Republicans are obsessed with trans people. Here's $140 million, and here's how much they're spending on talking about the economy. And I actually saw the graph, and it was like tiny. So you could have flipped that around and
see now.
yeah.
You should be doing ads for the
Okay.
Democrats show.
Mm, mm. I would love to.
Right, that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise it's like Kamala Harris. If it's like JD Vance as well. JD Vance is thinking, you know what? I've been defined of who I am. So I'm going to go on these shows like The View, and I'm going to redefine myself. And it works. It works to some degree. Do you know what I mean? It works to some degree. So I think Kamala Harris and her advisors were like, let's just pretend it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know, let's
Right.
let's ignore her. And all these people defining her as being, a word salad, and she can't speak properly.
Two
Well,
sentences together, yeah.
that's right. If she's not going on to these shows where those people exist,
Yep.
they're never going to know differently, because they're not going to watch MSNBC, right? They're
Right,
not going to watch
right.
CNN. They're going to watch a 20-second clip.
That podcast about daddy or whatever it was called.
Daddy, what? Yeah, that no one's watching that. Yeah,
No, not the people.
that was never going to be the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Look. I still think she would have lost no matter what, but it would have been interesting to see. It would have been a good dry run for Democrats to go on other platforms, and even if they don't win, it's at least stop explaining. Okay,
Yeah.
June and July has told me to stop explaining. Okay, I'm going to
No,
stop
no, I don't
explaining.
think she means you. I think she
Yeah.
means Democrats.
Oh, Democrats. Yes,
Like,
yes,
in other
yes.
words, stop playing defense, start playing offense.
Yes, that's right.
Right,
Yeah.
June and July, and if that's the case, I agree.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, but I actually agree. I think that, not you. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. She
Yeah,
wasn't talking about me.
yeah, no, she's
Um,
a Democrat.
sorry, I've been on TikTok Live, and it gets pretty brutal on TikTok Live. Yeah. So
Yeah, we're in a much more
much more nicer thing.
more
Yeah, 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 yeah.
respectful
Um,
space here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting because we were also gonna talk about, because you and I are gonna do like a project, aren't we?
We are
Yeah, yeah,
very
together.
excited about this, right?
Mm, mm,
Yeah. So, okay. So
yeah.
we want to run this by you guys because we're just like putting this together. We're all outsiders here, right?
Yeah, we're all outsiders. Yeah,
So,
yeah. We're civilized. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. We are civilized outsiders. So our
yeah.
goal is to put together,
Mm,
a newsletter every other week, and we'll do our podcast every other week.
yeah.
So something every week. Um, talking about democracy around the world, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Not just in America.
Yes.
Because we think that that would be
Yeah.
good for everyone, right? What do you think?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think like we're gonna set up um a actual Substack account called the Outsiders. So we still have our own accounts, but it'll be the Outsiders account, and we'll both be writing and doing lives and stuff like that. And we'll probably start interviewing some people if we can.
Yeah.
um, maybe even people with different points of view with us. I might even try to get some people from Australia who talk about American politics a lot on the show, to get to have a bit of an international feel to it, like as well, because that's sort of like the outsiders as well. But it's interesting because at the moment, I don't know how many people know this in Australia, we're actually going through our own outliers. Outliers, yeah. Oh, here we go. Outliers. There's another name. Um, but yeah, in Australia, we're actually going through our own MAGA movement at the moment. There's a political party called One Nation, run by a woman called Pauline Hanson, and she's been in politics for 30 years in Australia, and she's only ever got about 10% of the vote in Australia. And she's like a Trump, her party's like Trump. Literally, it's like MAGA. It's all about immigration. It's all about the Muslims. It's almost identical to MAGA. In fact, they love MAGA, like this particular party. And they used to get about 10% of the vote. And in the last 6 months, it's gone from 10% to 30%, right? So at the last poll, right? At the last poll, they actually got the highest primary vote, right? So this is incredibly unusual and shocking that it's happened so fast. But one of the couple of reasons why it's happening is because around the world there is a lot of like you see that in America, in England with Nigel Farage reform, and so it's good to also know. Hi Tamara, good to see you, Tamara. It's good to also know that this is not just an American thing, right? No, we're going for another half an hour, Tamara. We're going for another half an hour. Um, I think it's good for Americans to know that what's happening in America is not just an American thing. It's happening in Australia. It's happening in the UK, and it's happening in a lot of places. And in Australia, it's happening because inflation has gone up. I think that's the main reason. Home prices have increased a lot. And about this is interesting. When you look at the chart of when she went from only having 10% of the poll to she went up to like 15 very fast. It was after she visited her and another Australia's richest person is called Gina Reinhardt. She's a big mining magnate in Australia. They pretty much they do everything together. And she actually bought a private plane for Pauline Hanson to fly around Australia and campaign. Like literally bought her a plane. Yeah.
She went to Mar-a-Lago, didn't she?
So they both went to Mar-a-Lago last year to meet Donald Trump, and he's not just Donald Trump, but his advisors, right? And what was that? Sandra, not really good jokes. All four of these fucking need to go away. Aren't Australians learning from what Americans are dealing with? Who wants that? Yeah.
I know.
So it's true, Sandra. And then what happened is she went to, now this got advertised in Australia that she went to Mar-a-Lago, because it was a high-profile visit, right? So Pauline Hanson, the leader of the One Nation, Gina Reinhart, Australia's richest person, they go over there, they spend a week over there at Mar-a-Lago with Trump and his advisors. And it's really important. And in that advisors was Stephen Miller. And then 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, her polling went up by about 5%. So that's unusual for her to go to 15 from 10 in such a short period of time. And what we found out later is that the Trump's advisors are very good on social media, right? And so Trump does and so what they're doing is they're helping One Nation do social media posts on Facebook, Instagram, and a whole bunch of other things. And it was after they helped us that her polling went up, right? So Trump's advisors are helping Pauline Hanson go up in the polls. And then after that, we had the massacre, the terrorist attack, which
Bondi Beach.
Bondi Beach. Yeah.
Right.
So that happened about two or 3 months after. So she was already rising because of her visit to Mar-a-Lago and the fact that she got help from the Trump administration. And then because she's also very anti-Muslim, right? And she
That
would
was
do
related.
she would do a lot of stunts, like show up in Congress. Well, she's a senator, so she would show up in the Senate
Oh,
wearing a.
sitting
She's a senator. Yeah, she's a senator.
Okay. I didn't
She
realize
would,
that.
she would show up in Congress in the Senate wearing a burqa, like a full burqa. It was as a protest. It was a stunt. It was like a protest against the burqa, right?
Right.
So because the Bondi shooting was two radical Muslim people who killed a whole bunch of Jewish people, and it was 100% a anti-Semitic thing.
Oh, absolutely. It was a hate crime.
Because of that, because she was the most high-profile anti-Muslim person, then her polling went up even further. So her polling starts going up after her visit to Mar-a-Lago. Then the Bondi shooting makes it go up even further.
Mm-hmm.
But there was already something underneath that, which was a lot of young people couldn't afford to buy a home, right? So there was a lot of inflation, economic issues that were burning underneath, right? And so in 2016, a lot of people voted for Trump because they wanted to blow up the establishment parties, right? And the number one reason why people are saying they want to vote for her is they're sick of the centre left party and they're sick of the centre right party. So it's the same sentiment. And if you look at the demographics of the people who want to vote for her, it's exactly the same as Trump. Mostly white people, Gen X, which is a big part of who support her, and uneducated, so people who didn't go to college, and working class people. So it's exactly the same demographic that voted for Trump. And then you look at England, we just found out that Nigel Farage is also getting help from the Trump administration in terms of social media, right? And also that helped the polling go up. Also the focus on Muslims. So America needs to understand that this is not a Trump thing. And I think you and I talked about this, about our new project, that this is much bigger than Trump.
Exactly.
Because if you think getting rid of Trump is going to stop this, it's not. Yeah.
So, there's this this is just such a formulaic populist stew, right? Of all things.
Yeah.
When you have all these things come together, it seems like they create the conditions for this to happen. And now you have Trump Inc. Exporting to all of these other countries the way that very, very well.
Exactly.
So seeing that happen. And then, we were talking about the election in Colombia where the Trump backed candidate just won too. So this is happening, this is going on. And I just think that Trump grabs so much of our attention. Which is
exactly
right.
And I totally get it. Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense. I mean, I'm not putting anyone down for that, but it's me as well. I'm just saying that, but I do think it makes sense for us as Americans if we're going to have a way forward, if we're going to figure out how to get out of this mess, hopefully.
Yes.
to pay attention to what's happening around the world too.
Yes, exactly right.
Bye, Julie.
See you, Kimmy. Thank you so much. I'm just giving Kimmy some love hearts. So I'm just giving Kimmy some love hearts before she go away. Yeah, she deserves the love hearts, Kimmy. You
Very,
deserve the love
very
hearts.
loyal listener.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Kimmy. She was just here for she didn't actually hear anything we said. She was just like looking at Nibbles the whole time. Yeah, looking for the liver. Yeah. She's actually alive, just so you know. She hasn't actually moved at
She
all.
hasn't moved at all. I know.
She didn't secretly pass away and I had her stuffed. She's like literally she's still Nibbles.
Can I tell you a funny story by the way,
Yeah.
just talking about that? This is completely off topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I told you we're having some work done in our house. So anyway,
Yeah.
our last dog, who we had to have put down last year when she was 14, her name was Josie.
Yeah.
Wonderful dog. And we had a
Yeah.
little thing made up of her called a cuddle clone, which is like a
Yes.
stuffed dog that
Yes.
and it's not taxidermy or anything weird like that. It's a stuffed
Yeah.
animal, but it's the size and exact coloring of the dog and looks so real. Right?
Yes.
Look it up, cuddle
Yes.
clone, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, we had Josie's cuddle clone in the one
Yeah.
room in the house, and one of the
Yeah.
contractors needed to go into the room, and he opens the door and then he closes it real fast and he's like, "There's a dog in there."
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He goes, "Yes, there is. There's a dog in there."
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a dog.
Yeah.
My husband's
Oh my
like, "No, it's a stuffed animal."
It's just a
And
stuffed
he
animal. Oh my god.
no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. 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 That would be freaky. That would be a little bit freaky. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was. I mean, and to be fair, it looks exactly like her. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you saying that, sorry about.
Yeah. No. That would. Yeah. Oh, I find stuffed animals freaky. I
Oh, I
find it.
should bring the clone. Next time, I will bring up clone Josie.
Who's that? Can we? Oh, the clone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clone
Yeah.
Josie
Yeah.
will appear at the next
At the next show. Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
She's upstairs, so I can't get her right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring her in. I think that could help with ratings. Yeah. Yeah. I think I think it could. We should.
Clone.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Yeah. 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 No, that would be good to see. Yeah. I could never do that to Nibbles. I don't know if she would. Nibbles. She does. I can see. Her ears just went up. Did you see that? Nibbles.
I did. And her
Nibbles.
eyes are open.
Yeah. 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 So she's alive.
Pretty.
She's alive. She's alive. Yeah. She just likes to watch. She likes to watch in the background. Yeah.
Wow.
Look, you just. Actually, I could imagine people watching this and not even noticing she's
I didn't
there
realize it.
because she's so tiny.
Or something.
Yeah, yeah.
She's so
Yeah.
small, so cute.
Yeah, she's very.
Oh, she's
Look,
moved.
you can just see her ears, like her ears are just there. Her little black nose is there,
Yeah.
and she loves being on that. She loves just like being on that pillow, like that. Yeah, that's her favorite little spot there.
Cute.
Yeah. Yeah. She's gone. Yeah, thanks a lot, Dad. I was having a really good dream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, she loves being just cuddling there. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, Lebby. Hi,
We just-
Lebby's here. Lebby's here.
Oh,
Yeah,
hi,
yeah.
Levy.
Yeah. Dot
Yeah.
hasn't
Dots.
Dot hasn't actually arrived today. I don't know where Dot
New
is.
dots.
I miss Dot. I miss Dot. Yeah.
No, I really
Yeah.
enjoy dots.
Yeah.
7 dots.
Yeah.
No, so
Yeah.
we were talking about our project. So anyway, we really
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
this would be an interesting way for
Mm.
us to talk about some other stuff that maybe people aren't aware of. And I know we all
Yeah.
have a lot in our minds already, but
Yeah.
so a lot of the Substackers is kind of a rehash of the same old story. So we're kind of looking for
Yeah.
some new stuff to talk about.
Some different stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
I always find it interesting that I think I if I was American, I would feel some consolation. Like it wouldn't be a good feeling knowing that it's not just your country that's going through it. You know what I mean? Because then you can start to think, well, it's just why are Americans so silly that they vote for this? You know what I mean? Because you can start to think that you can go, well, why are we? And then you realize, okay, well, Australia's also doing it. The UK's also doing it. You know, in Germany, there's like a far right. So it's happening a lot of places around the world,
Yes.
which shows you that Trump is a symptom. That and obviously it helps to have a charismatic leader. It certainly does help to have a charismatic leader.
Demagogue type.
But
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, but right-wing populism is not global sycophant power and cash grab. Exactly. But again,
And
uh, in Australia, I think what the centre left government here did is because they're now concerned that they're going to get kicked out in a couple of years by this far right wing party.
Mhm.
And so what they did to counter that is they brought in this really bold economic policy. In America, you don't have so if you buy an investment property in America, you don't have negative gearing, do you? You know what that is? Like
Yeah,
so
that
so yeah,
negative
so
what?
I'll explain that, yeah, because I don't think other countries
I
have it.
can't afford an investment property.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I wish I could.
In the late 90s, a right wing government brought in this thing where if you buy an investment property,
Yes.
right, and you sell it, sorry, you buy an investment property, you get a loan from the
Okay.
bank,
Right.
and sometimes you don't make money for the first 4 or 5 years. So what it
Okay.
means is you're paying what you pay in the mortgage and so sometimes if you buy an old property, you have to fix it up a lot.
Sure. Right.
So
People.
so you might spend
Yeah.
so the first year that you buy investment property, you're paying off the loan of the bank, right? And usually the loan is usually bigger at the start and it
Yeah.
gets smaller as it goes. So you end up making less, you end up losing money in the first year because the amount of rent you're getting is not covering your loan and it's
Okay.
not covering the amount that you need to fix your property. So maybe you lost $3,000 that year. Let's just say $3,000 a year. You could offset that loss against your income tax.
Ah,
So you
got
pay $3,000 less
gotcha.
income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I
So
understand.
what that did is turn the housing market into the stock market. So
Yes.
you
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean?
Yes. Now I know exactly what you're
Because
talking about. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so people started buying investment property. People started buying up in big numbers. Right? They're like, you know what? I'll get an investment property, and then I can make a loss for 4 years in a row, and I pay a lot less tax. I'll offset my tax. You know what I mean? So it's called negative gearing, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Negative gearing,
I've
right?
never heard that term.
Yeah. So I don't think other countries do it. And what happened is now all these homes that could have been bought for families to live in, the supply became less because now it's all investment property people, right? So that pushed up the price, right? Because people are now not just buying homes to live in,
Mhm.
they're buying it as like to make money, right? As investment property, right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And
It's not just
so
the home, your primary home.
it's an investment. Yeah.
It's a financial vehicle for you now.
It's
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Peter, I listened to the Pauline Hanson speech to the press. Rita, perfectly reprehensible. Yeah, Peter might be an Aussie. Yeah, exactly. So this happened in 1999, and so prices kept going up and up and up, and then after COVID, like the rest of the world, it went up like through the roof. It like doubled, right? And so what we're seeing, this is what I think is happening around the world. In Australia, the UK, parts of them, and I think the second term of Trump, well, a lot of it was based on young people not being able to afford to buy homes, right?
Right.
Or rents went up.
Mhm.
So what what the centre left said, but this is the important thing, is the centre left government in Australia before the election said they wouldn't get rid of negative gearing. They said they wouldn't do it because they thought it would be too unpopular. But they broke a promise. It was a very big promise halfway through the election, like just recently in the last month. And
Right.
their calculation is that the reason people are becoming right wing populists in Australia, in the UK, and America is because they can't afford homes. Like young people can't afford to buy a home and
Right.
rents are going up. So by getting rid of negative gearing, it'll take out all these investors in the market, which means first time home buyers will have less competition when they go to buy homes,
Right. Right.
right? So, and what's already happening is home prices are starting to dip by not by a lot, it's not crashing, but about 5-10%, right?
Mhm.
And what a lot of young people are saying is for the first time ever, real estate agents are taking us seriously, right? because they don't have the competition of all these investors. They're showing up someone in their 30s, maybe even their 40s,
Right.
with their
Not a
family
lot of money.
that doesn't have a lot of money, and their house prices they're not being auctioned upwards,
Right.
right, by investors.
Right.
And also
Exactly.
banks will loan more money to you if you buy an investment property than if you buy because with investment properties you get a return of rent, right? And in Australia we have a very tight rental market. It's very hard to get a rental. So banks will say, if you're a home occupier and you're an investment property people, they would rather give the loan to the investment property person because they feel safer because they're going to get that guaranteed rent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're taking off. So now homeowners are like, wait a second, for once in my life, so that was the calculation. So if this works out, because it's a big lie, and they've basically gone back on a massive promise. But if this works out, I think this has a lot of stuff for the rest of the world, which is we all know that's what's in America. It's the same thing. What's underpinning a lot of this stuff is young people not being able to afford to get a home. That's actually number one thing in America that young people say under the age of 50. They will say not being able to afford a home is the number one issue. The same in the UK. The Australian government doing this could be a sign of you need to do something bold.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You need to do something bold economically, and even if you break a massive promise, the other thing that's happening is the boomers used to be the number one demographic for voters that vote. That was the same in America, Australia, the UK. Now the number one demographic is Gen Z and millennials. And so boomers might be
trying to buy the houses.
Exactly. So boomers are angry. You know why boomers are angry in Australia? Because their home prices are slightly going down, which means if they sell their home, they will have less money and maybe they'll have a little bit less money in retirement. But it's still like, we're talking like a tiny percentage, right? So, but what they've calculated is that that's not their main voting group anymore. It used to be for decades, the main voting group was boomers. So everyone did policies that made their lives happier.
Fit the boomers. Exactly.
Exactly. But now that that's changing all around the world, I think we're going to start seeing policies that are more targeted towards younger people. And then you're going to see less right-wing populism have as much effects. That's what I think. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I also did I had a talk
Yeah.
with Matt Robeson a couple of weeks ago,
Mm.
and we were talking about, and he said that he made the point
Yeah.
that 40% of public expenditures in the United States go towards senior citizens.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And he was saying, his point
Yeah.
was, look, I have nothing against senior citizens.
Mm.
He said, but it does seem like we ought to be flowing some of this
Yeah. To younger people.
too, through
Yeah.
housing, healthcare,
Yeah.
education, and so forth.
Yeah.
I can't agree with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it does worry me though, because what I've always found is you see people that
Yeah.
who in their youth were very
Yeah.
democratic, very left leaning because they wanted
Yes.
politics that fit that. And then as they got older and they gained money and more prestige even in their positions, jobs and whatnot, and so their incomes grow, and now
Yeah.
they're wanting to
Yeah.
do the same things that
Yeah.
Republicans have always wanted to find
Mm.
tax shelters
Mm.
and all of that. And so it's interesting to me how people change as the years go by, that they may have
Yeah.
been very liberal at one time. And we're also seeing, right, Democrats in the United States, when I
Yes.
was younger,
Yeah.
were primarily blue collar,
Blue collar. That's right. Yes.
workers and so forth.
Yeah.
Now that's
Yes.
and the Republicans were kind of the elitist college
Elitist.
grads, the country
That's
clubbers.
right. Yeah.
That's kind of switched now. And
Same
now
in
you
Australia.
have,
Same in Australia.
yeah, now
Yeah.
you have more
Yeah.
blue collars type people on the Republican side, and now Democrats are now these sort of
Yeah.
elitists and
Yes.
taking advantage of like what you were just talking about, like those kind
Yes.
of policies and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
actually rather interesting to me to watch that.
Yeah. Exactly. You're 100% right, because the same thing happened in Australia. The centre right, the centre left party now, the which is basically your Democratic Party, is the party of college educated people, the party of more sort of affluent people, not super affluent, but like, people.
Right.
There's a group. There's a group of affluent. There's a group of affluent inner city type people, who are
Mhm.
concerned about climate change. They're concerned about, and they find that the populist parties are very anti-science, and they're very,
Right. Right.
and so even though economically the MAGA side is better for them financially, because they're well educated, and because they sort of have a better view of the world, they're willing to, they will vote for more like a left wing, centre left party, because
Right.
they might have things about climate change, for example. That's
Right.
what we find in
Or
Australia.
reproductive rights or,
That's right, or exactly,
things like
reproductive
that.
rights. Yeah, that's less of an issue in Australia, but like climate change seems to be the big one, where we have inner city seats where you have a lot of affluent people living in there, and they're voting for a centre left government who economically they'll be like, I don't like their views on the union. They're too union friendly, but at least they believe in climate change. And
Right.
so, and
So they'll vote
that's
against their own interest a little bit.
they vote against their own interest. Yeah. Now,
Mhm.
some people say that when they get into the voting booth, they end up voting for I don't know how much evidence there is of that. I have heard that before. Like they get into the voting booth and they're like, wait a sec, do I want to pay more taxes? And it's like, yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. But,
I don't know,
you
maybe
know,
explain some things about our government here if
that
that
could explain. Yeah. Yeah. But, it would be good for centre left parties. And like this far right wing party in Australia, it's the same as I said before, same demographics. It's working class people. It's mostly white people, uneducated people. So people who didn't not uneducated, I just mean like
maybe a college
they didn't go to university.
right,
They
right.
they live they live they live in mostly rural areas or the outer suburbs. They live in less multicultural areas. So they live in areas that are more Anglo.
Right.
But some of these people did vote left wing or centre left years ago, and now they think that both parties are as bad as each other. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they want to try. And so basically, the centre right party in Australia got eaten up by the far right wing party, right?
Oh,
And
okay, so now
uh,
now I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly like Trump
yeah.
and MAGA. Almost exactly. And the UK. In UK, you never hear of the centre right Tory party anymore. You hear the Labor Party, and then you hear a Reform Party. But in between them, there used to be a main party called the Tory Party. But
Right.
it got eaten up by the far right party. And that's the same in Germany. There used to be a centre right party which got eaten up by the right wing party. So it's like the centre right doesn't exist anymore. It goes from centre left and then it goes to far right. Yeah. And there is a gap there. But I think what it is a lot of centre left parties are considered centrist anyway. So the Democratic Party is mostly establishment centrist type party. You know what I mean?
Okay. Right.
To some degree, like it's centre left, like it's not far left. Yeah. Um, and so I think a lot of people who think both sides are as bad as each other, they think, well, the Democrats are pretty much somewhere near where moderate Republicans are. You know what I mean? For
Uh,
example, yeah. So what's the point of having a centre right
right.
when
Right.
the Democratic Party's not that far off? And they think the same thing in Australia. They think it's like the centre left and centre right are so close together that, you know what? Well, I'll just vote the centre left. What's the point? You know what I mean? And then they go, I need something different, and they go
Yeah.
far
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Then they go with the far right, it seems like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to see what, Ta I don't know if it's Tamara or Tamara.
Oh, Tamara. I think it's Tamara.
Okay.
Tamara. Well, yeah. In the right has a skill messaging to blue collar workers and so on, but then they don't deliver. And so then why do blue collars do when they don't? Yeah. And look, so
Cultural stuff,
I
man,
will
that's
say this.
strong.
So people don't know I do I've been doing TikTok lives in Australia, but I'm only talking to Australians. But I'm on TikTok live. I'm debating One Nation people. Hello, she's gone.
Who's
Oh
gone?
my god, I'm here by myself.
I'm gone?
Um, she's disappeared.
I still see you?
Oh my god. Can everyone only see me? Um, can everyone only see me, or can they see? Oh, there you are. You disappeared.
I was just about to type in. I can see both of us.
Oh right, I could just see myself. That was weird.
Really?
Yeah, I could just see myself. It
I
looked
was
like you
like, I can
disappeared.
see you. I'm all right.
Oh wow, that was weird. We can see and hear both of you. Oh wow, for my screen, you disappeared, and I was on my own. And
I was just gonna type in, I'm still here.
oh, I'm still here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
she's not gone. I see you all. Okay, good.
Okay. So carry on, Joe. What were you saying again?
Oh, I can't even remember what I was saying now. Something about
Well, we were talking about hold on, let's see. Weren't we talking
oh,
about
Tamara. What did
Tamara?
Tamara
Yeah.
say? What would Tamara say? Because now I can't go back now for some reason.
She said,
She's
okay. Oh, so it must have been you that was gone. I was here and you disappeared if you can't see.
oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has a skill at messaging to blue collar workers and so on, but then they don't deliver. So then what do
Yeah,
blue collar workers do when they don't get what was promised? But I
yeah,
said, that's where I think the cultural stuff comes in. That's
yeah,
views on folks.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so when I talk to on TikTok Live, I think I was talking about when I
yes,
debate
that was what you were saying.
when I debate maybe because I mentioned TikTok Live, Substack got rid of me.
Substack got mad. Mhm.
Competition. They don't like competition.
Texas
Um,
inverted. Oh,
yeah, but when I talk to them because I debate them, they all say that they're all the same, and they all say the same thing. They said I used to vote left wing, or I used to vote centre right, but they both offered me nothing. And my life, and all of them are working class. All of them that I've spoken to, and show it's the same the demographics. And a lot of them will say things like, "We got too much immigration." They blame the economic conditions on immigrants. It's just everything's about immigrants. We have in Australia we don't really have undocumented workers, right? It's more legal immigration, but they think our legal immigration is too high. They think they should lower the legal immigration. Um,
okay.
and but we also have an aging population in Australia. So we need younger people to help pay taxes for older people who get, who end up in nursing homes and stuff like that. So a lot of times I will say to them, what's your answer for an aging population? Like if we're not having enough babies, who's going to pay for the older people? And they don't have answers. And a lot of times I'll ask them what they like about One Nation's policies, the right wing party, and they don't even know. So it's a protest vote. It's a
That's
protest vote.
exactly what it is.
It's a grievance protest vote. That's all it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely, and that's
yeah,
why it works for them.
yeah.
They will pay more for gas, and they will, you know,
Yes,
if as long as somebody is telling them, "You can blame somebody else for this. This isn't,"
yes,
and they're not looking at who's really to blame. They're looking at
exactly.
these
Yes,
poor migrants who are working their asses off.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
immigration is a scapegoat. That's a good
yeah.
comparison.
Immigrators just a scapegoat. They have to find eventually. That's not going to solve it. Exactly. And look, I always say to them, in Australia, I always say, look, MAGA came in on immigration and inflation got worse. And I will often use the example in the United Kingdom, there was a thing called Brexit years ago, it was about 10 years ago. And Nigel Farage was the leader of that group. And
Mhm.
they said, let's break away from Europe. Well,
Right.
they won the referendum. And in fact, it made the economy a lot worse.
Worse. It was a
So
terrible decision.
yeah,
Yeah.
terrible. So I always say to these people, I say, if you don't believe me, look overseas what happened when
Right.
far right wing groups actually got into power or they won Brexit, things got worse. So
Yep.
don't just think, don't, it's like simplistic solutions
Way of
for simplistic minds. So
thinking.
I think, um, so I just think like, it's just they want something to change and they're not even sure about what it's, they just want to break up the system. Very similar to Trump in 2016. Yeah, like the Haitians here in Florida. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I know you have to go, don't you?
I
Into
do. I'm sorry,
yes,
a little early
that's
tonight,
right.
but I we do wanna mention one more time that we're going
Yes,
to have our exciting new project coming soon. Uh,
yes,
hopefully we want to launch early July sometime.
Early July. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Then
That's right.
I hope everyone will subscribe.
Oh, did you want to quickly talk about your friend's, that person's disability thing?
Oh, Nietas.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Okay, so let me just read this real quick. Okay.
Yes.
The Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel has issued a memorandum that incorrectly purports that neither federal disability rights laws nor Supreme Court precedent enshrine the right of people with disabilities to live integrated lives in their communities instead of being segregated into institutions. They're trying to
Yeah.
say that there is no legal basis that
Yeah.
creates
Yeah.
conditions for disabled people to live independently.
Oh my God.
So the
Yeah.
ACLU had this response. Trump's
Yeah.
Justice Department cannot erase.
Oh, disappeared again.
What's that? You there?
Oh, I can't hear you. You've disappeared. I'm
oh,
following both of you.
hopefully
You disappeared again.
everybody can.
Oh, you're back. You're back. Yeah, Cheryl, I'm following both of you. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate that. Sorry, I just cut out. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what
Okay,
happened.
so
Yeah,
I'll start this again. This is from the ACLU. Trump's
yeah,
Justice Department cannot erase federal laws and decades of legal
yeah,
precedent with a single opinion. The
yeah.
memo itself acknowledges it is out of step with longstanding and consistent federal court opinion interpreting what the Americans with Disabilities Act, which was passed under
Yes.
George H.W. Bush,
Yeah.
of the Rehabilitation Act require, but it's far worse than that. It's a blatant attempt to undermine the rights of
Yes.
disabled people. So
Yeah,
now
that's
we're looking at
incredible.
disabled people.
Yeah, that's awful.
What does
Yeah,
that
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
so, NIETA has a really cool group.
yeah,
Their motto is, okay, I always mess up on it because that
yeah,
is a great motto. And it was like,
yeah, yeah,
nothing about us without us. I think that's it.
yeah, right. Yes.
And
Yeah,
it's talking about disabled people and rights
yeah,
in
yeah,
democratic society. And I 100% agree with Nieta. If anybody's not following Nieta Green, you really should. She's fantastic.
yeah,
I'm actually
yeah,
going to be on with her next week.
yeah.
I'm
Cool.
gonna
All
talk
right.
about it somewhat. So that was it. I just wanted to bring that up
Yeah.
on her behalf because I think that that's absolutely horrible. And it's something that's not getting talked about.
Yeah, that is a horrible thing. I've got to be honest, I didn't know about that, but yeah, that is a horrible thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
called Olmstead. The ruling. So if
yeah.
anybody's interested in looking that up, Olmstead is the ruling that's.
I'm gonna look into that. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awful. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
So that was what I
anyway.
wanted to mention.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly 16 in July. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Amazing.
know. All right. Well, thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you again. And Levy asked before because I think she came in late. Just so you know, Levy, Melissa and I are going to start a new Substack called The Outsiders. I know it's already existing, but it's going to be we're going to have like a Substack account that's basically joined together. Two outsiders, one from Philadelphia, one from Australia, complete outsiders. Yeah. The real outsiders, actually. The real outsiders. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah. And Rocky Balboa was an outsider, wasn't he? He was from
There you
Philadelphia.
go. Right.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin
Irwin.
was an outsider and he was from Australia. So people think of like if you're thinking of outsiders, think of Steve Irwin and Rocky Balboa from Philadelphia.
There
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go. Those
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah. That was the first when Rocky Balboa climbed up. That was the library, was it?
Uh,
When
no,
he
that's
when
the
he
Museum of Art. You mean when he's running up the steps?
yeah,
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 it's the Museum of Art.
Museum of Art. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I've got a feeling that's probably the first time Rocky Balboa was ever near that sort of place. That was the closest he ever got to.
True. Yeah.
That was the closest he ever got to
Yeah.
to
Yeah. The
to
Philadelphia Art Museum is the closest. The steps of the art museum are the closest Rocky
yeah
Balboa ever got.
ever got to the museum. Donna said Olivia Newton-John. Absolutely. If you want to believe, yeah, Olivia Newton-John was another outsider. Paul Hogan.
Olivia Newton-John. When
Yeah.
I wanted to be Sandy from Grease.
Sandy. Yeah, 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 yeah. So true. Rupert Murdoch, not so much of an outsider, I would say. Not a big Australian outsider. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, not a bit. I'm not a big fan. Yeah. Could you imagine Steve Irwin and Rocky Balboa doing a podcast? That would be I would actually watch that. I would so
Get
watch
2
that.
really strong accents going there too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't think you'd understand. Like, one would be like a really strong Australian accent. "Hey, go, mate. You going? Oh, look at this crocodile. Oh, bloody hell, crikey, crikey." And the other one, "Roar," like, he mumbles. He
Oh,
just mumbles.
yo.
Maybe not a podcast would probably be a great idea because it's mostly like just speak. Maybe like I don't know, like a visual thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll
yeah.
try
Like
that together.
they could fight, like an MMA fight.
Poor
Yeah.
Steve Irwin.
Huh?
R.I.P. Poor Steve Irwin, though. Rest in peace.
Do you think he would win that fight?
Yeah, I don't
M-
know.
MMA, like an MMA fight. Do you think? I think Rocky Balboa would win an MMA. I think he would
I
win
would
that.
hope. I mean, like, he was a fighter, right? So, I mean,
Yeah, true,
you'd hope.
true. But Steve Irwin did wrestle crocodiles.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It would
So,
be an interesting fight, though. I'm not a big MMA fan, but I would watch
we
to
could have
see
it
that
on the
one.
White House lawn.
You could have the White House. We could have it on the Australian Parliament House. Australian
Yeah.
Parliament. Steve Irwin versus Rocky Balboa. It would be massive on TV. It would be honestly.
Oh,
I would love to promote it. I would promote that. Yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. It's
Well,
going to be hard.
maybe if it takes off, who knows?
Maybe his son could do it.
But that's what I was gonna say. He was on
Be-
the, Dancing with the Stars. He
Dancing with the Stars.
might
It
work.
doesn't quite come across as MMA, but
At least he appeared athletic from what I
he
saw.
did. He is. He's actually more athletic. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's much more city like than his dad. His dad was, because he grew up. His parents sent him to like he got sent to private schools, so
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to be Steve Irwin when you've been sent to the best schools in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank
That
you,
was fun.
everybody. All right.
Thank
See
you.
you
Talk
soon.
to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.